What if I told you the biggest cash robbery in American history was pulled off without a single alarm, but the real danger didn't start until after the heist was over? This isn't a movie script. It's the unbelievable true story of the 1978 Lufthansa heist. A crime so perfectly executed that it unraveled not because of the police but because of the paranoia and brutality of the man who planned it all. The date is December 11th, 1978. The location, John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York City. Hidden away inside Lufthansa Cargo Building 261 is a fortune. We're talking millions of dollars in untraceable cash, flown in from West Germany and waiting to be distributed to American banks. It's a tempting target, one that most criminals would only dream of hitting. But for one man, it wasn't a dream. It was a plan. Enter James Burke, better known as Jimmy the Gent. Burke wasn't a made man in the Mafia, but he was a powerful and feared associate of the Lucchese crime family. He was intelligent, charming, and utterly ruthless. Burke had a reputation for pulling off sophisticated heists, and for years, he had his eyes on the immense flow of cash moving through JFK. He just needed the right opportunity, the right inside information, and he got it. The key came from a man named Louis Werner, a cargo agent at Lufthansa who was deep in gambling debt to a bookie connected to Burke. Werner knew the security protocols, or rather, the lack of them. He knew when the big shipments arrived, where they were stored, and how vulnerable the vault was. He laid out the entire operation for Burke, the layout of the terminal, the guard schedules, and the specific timing needed for a successful raid. With Werner as his inside man, Jimmy Burke now had everything he needed to assemble his team and set his audacious plan in motion. He handpicked a crew of trusted, hardened criminals from his circle. Men like Tommy DeSimone, a notoriously violent and unpredictable enforcer whose reputation alone was enough to terrify anyone. There was also Parno Stax Edwards, a musician and associate tasked with a crucial but simple job. Each member had a specific role. They rehearsed the plan meticulously, knowing that timing and precision were everything. They knew exactly where to go, who to grab, and how long they had. The target wasn't just the cash. It was also a shipment of valuable jewels. The estimated haul? Close to $6 million. In 1978, that was an astronomical sum, the equivalent of over $25 million today. The stage was set for the largest cash robbery the United States had ever seen. In the cold pre-dawn hours of December 11th, at exactly 3:12 a.m., the plan swung into action. A black Ford Econoline van pulled up to the cargo terminal. 6 men, their faces hidden by ski masks, burst out and stormed the building. They moved with military precision. The handful of night shift employees were caught completely by surprise. The crew rounded them up at gunpoint, using their inside knowledge to identify each worker by name, a terrifying detail that made it clear this wasn't a random attack. They forced a supervisor to use his unique set of keys to open the first set of doors to the vault. Then they brought in the inside man Louis Werner, who was supposedly just another victim, to open the final vault door. Inside, they found what they were looking for: stacks upon stacks of currency and boxes of jewelry. They loaded everything into the van, a haul weighing hundreds of pounds. The entire operation, from the moment they entered the building to the moment they vanished back into the night, took just 64 minutes. They left no clues, no fingerprints. No shots were fired, no alarms were triggered. The employees were warned not to call the police for at least 15 minutes, giving the crew a crucial head start. It was by all accounts the perfect crime. When the FBI arrived, they were stunned. The scale of the robbery was unprecedented. It was a massive embarrassment for law enforcement and a huge score for the mob. The news exploded and the Lufthansa heist immediately became a modern legend. The crew met up with Jimmy Burke, who was ecstatic. They had pulled it off. They were rich beyond their wildest dreams. But this is where the story takes a dark and bloody turn. The celebration was short-lived because the real problem wasn't the FBI. It was Jimmy Burke's own spiraling paranoia. Burke understood something that his crew, in their excitement, seemed to forget. A score this big brought an insane amount of heat. The FBI would be relentless. He knew that the biggest threat to their freedom wasn't the investigation. It was the people who knew about the heist. A loose lip, a flashy purchase, a boast in a bar. Any one of these things could bring the whole enterprise crashing down. And Jimmy Burke was not going to prison. He decided the only way to guarantee silence was to eliminate anyone who could possibly talk. The perfect heist was about to be followed by a perfect and brutal cleanup. The first domino to fall was Parnell Stacks Edwards. His job was simple: take the getaway van to a compactor in New Jersey and have it destroyed, erasing a key piece of evidence. But instead of going straight there, Stacks decided to get high with his girlfriend. He parked the van in a no-parking zone, and the next day, police found it. Inside, they discovered fingerprints that linked directly back to the heist. When Burke found out about this colossal mistake, his fury was absolute. A few days later, Stacks Edwards was found dead, shot multiple times. He was the first of many. One by one, the members of the heist crew, and anyone associated with them, began to disappear. Martin Krugman, the wig shop owner who helped plan the heist, vanished. Richard Eaton, a con man involved in laundering the money, was found frozen solid in a meat truck. Teresa Ferrara, a girlfriend of one of the robbers who might have known too much, was dismembered, and her torso was later found floating in a bay. The message was clear: silence or death. And then there was Tommy DeSimone, the hot-headed enforcer. His disappearance was different. While Burke was cleaning house, the Gambino crime family had their own score to settle with DeSimone. Years earlier, he had murdered two made men who were close friends of John Gotti, a rising star in the Gambino family. The Lufthansa heist had made DeSimone a high-profile target, and the Gambinos saw their chance for revenge. Just a few weeks after the robbery, Tommy DeSimone was told he was finally going to be a made man. He went to the ceremony and was never seen again. He wasn't killed by Burke's paranoia, but by his own violent past catching up to him. The FBI was closing in, but they were chasing ghosts. Their potential witnesses kept turning up dead. They'd put immense pressure on Henry Hill, a close associate of Burke's, but he remained loyal for a time. The inside man, Louis Werner, was the only person ever convicted for the robbery itself, largely because his colleagues at Lufthansa remembered him giving the robbers helpful advice during the heist. But he never gave up Jimmy Burke. As for Burke, he was untouchable for the Lufthansa crime. There was simply no physical evidence or testimony to link him to it. However, his luck eventually ran out. In 1980, his protege Henry Hill was arrested on a drug trafficking charge. Facing a long prison sentence and fearing that Burke would have him killed next, Hill made a deal. He became a federal informant, and his testimony brought down the entire Vario Burke crew. Jimmy Burke was finally sent to prison, but not for the heist. He was convicted for his role in the murder of Richard Eaton, the man found in the meat truck, and for his involvement in a point-shaving scandal with Boston College basketball. He was sentenced to life in prison, where he died of cancer in 1996, taking the final secrets of the Lufthansa heist to his grave. So what became of the $6 million? To this day, the vast majority of the cash and jewelry has never been found. It's believed to have been laundered and distributed throughout the criminal underworld, vanishing as quickly as it was stolen. The Lufthansa heist remains a legendary, unsolved mystery in the annals of American crime. A story so compelling, so filled with greed, loyalty, and betrayal that it became the basis for one of the greatest crime films ever made, Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas. The character of Jimmy Conway, played by Robert De Niro, was based directly on Jimmy Burke. The character of Tommy DeVito, played by Joe Pesci in an Oscar-winning performance, was based on Tommy DeSimone. In the end, the story of the Lufthansa heist is more than just a tale about a robbery. It's a chilling look into the mind of a criminal mastermind and a powerful cautionary tale. It shows how the perfect plan can be undone not by clever detectives, but by human weakness, by fear, ego, and a paranoia so consuming that it turned a historic victory into a bloodbath. The real cost wasn't the stolen money. It was the lives that were ruthlessly sacrificed to protect a secret. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button. And subscribe for more deep dives into incredible true stories. Let me know in the comments what you think happened to the money. See you in the next video.